What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you tonight to do another lake breakdown for you. This time, I think you remember, and if you don't, I've got a link up at the top somewhere up in here, somewhere in that area, that'll take you back to Lake Nasworthy, the lake breakdown for Lake Nasworthy. Well, Nasworthy is actually kind of divided by, it looks like a dam, I think it is, if I remember right. There's a dam, and then there's another lake right above it, and that's Twin Butte Reservoir. So we're going to cover Twin Butte Reservoir tonight in the video. Not going to do a lot of the Navionics mobile thing. Pretty much everything we were able to find, we were able to pretty much see on Google Earth because there's so much fluctuation in this water. But let's go check this one out. This one's kind of interesting. All right, like we always do, before we go out and break down any of the Texas lakes, we always go out to the Texas Park and Wildlife page just to see, what kind of information we can find out about the lake. They do a great job of telling you what kind of fish are in there, bait, stuff like that, all kinds of good stuff. So let's jump out here and let's take a look at this one. Now, notice at the top it does say that an entry permit is required. So it sounds like you've got to pay some kind of $12 a year to be able to hunt or fish out there. I'm not sure what it is, or $48 also includes hunting. I don't know what. Anyways, read all that junk up top. Lake characteristics west of San Angelo and Tom Green County on the middle and south Concho rivers. Now, if you remember right, we just did this lake over here not too long ago. So kind of got two of them right here in a row, and for whatever reason the name of that lake is totally slipping me right now, but I'll remember it here in just a couple seconds. Surface area of this lake is only 9,080 acres, so not too big. Maximum depth 46 feet. It was impounded in 1963. You can see the current lake levels here. You can see the fluctuation says 6 to 8 feet annually. I can tell you that when you pull this back to 2019, which is what we're going to look at on Google Earth, you're going to see that the water goes down way far in this reservoir, and we're able to basically see everything. I mean, it was pretty much almost dried up. It was so bad. So usually when you have water that's that turbid and stuff like that, it kind of makes fishing a little bit tougher from the largemouth side. But if there's some really deep holes in this lake that never really go completely dry, then you're probably okay. And then I also notice here it says that the water clarity is fairly clear, so that's a good sign as well. So let's go ahead and just scroll on down and see what else we can find. Aquatic vegetation says there's Illinois and Sago pondweeds, coontail, cattail, and water willow. Never heard of the Illinois pondweed. I don't know what that is, but obviously any kind of weeds like fishing around it. Predominant fish species, largemouth bass, white bass, channel, flathead, and blue catfish, and white crappie. Now, if you scroll down here a little bit further, you can see on the chart, they kind of tell you whether the fishing is good for this specific species. And here you can see everything is just kind of fair. Nothing too crazy to say about this lake. We go up here to lake records though. We come up here and we look at largemouth. Check this out, 14 pounder. 26 inches in length, caught on August 24th, 1991. That is a giant fish. I don't see any real new data in here other than some carp and stuff like that. But definitely some big ones in here, or hopefully still some big ones in there. And then let's go back. One more thing, just want to talk about before we switch over. Coming down here to tips and tactics. If you looked out here about largemouth bass, it says they're caught using live and artificial baits in the flooded terrestrial vegetation, along the riprap and off the drop-offs and humps, which we're going to talk a lot about that right now, switching over to Google Earth. Let's go. All right, here we are. We're out here on the Google Earth portion of this, and this one's going to be pretty easy. That I don't really have to show you any offshore hotspots because, like I said, the water goes down so much in this lake that I'm able to uncover pretty much every type of offshore stuff that's out there. So this will be a pretty good one to go through. The lake that I was telling you about was Lake Nasworthy. Of course, I mentioned it on the intro, but Nasworthy's over here. We already broke that one down. If you missed that video, just go out and look at the lake breakdown playlist and you'll be able to find that lake out there in the breakdown we did for this one, or did for that one. Now let's go over and switch over here to Twin Buttes and let's talk about it. First off, over here on the left-hand side, we've got it separated by a couple different things that are out here. First off, we've got the channels. That's going to be the main channels that are coming in here. We're able to mark those perfectly. And you're asking, well, why does that matter? Well, it matters a ton when you're fishing. If you can find those big turns or those places where the creek channel swings up against the point, or the bends, all that good stuff, that is basically going to lead you to fish. and the creek channels will always lead you to fish as well. We've got some really significant ones in this lake, so we've got them all marked for you there, and you'll see them as we get a little bit further. When we draw the water down, you'll see how I was able to mark all those. We've also got a couple different areas where we've just got some different types of cover, brush, things that I just wanted you to check. There might be like some little like tree, little areas up here. There's a pond, debris, some hard spots, just a couple different things to take a look at. A couple ramps on this lake. There's not a bunch. There's actually only two. There's one way up here that if the water's low, you wouldn't even be able to use. And kind of the same here as well. So this looks like it might be a tough little reservoir to get to. Also some rocks in here. There's definitely a lot of different rocky areas, little rock piles, rock jet outs, places where it got rocky on the creek channel swings and the bends, stuff like that. Lots of different structure down here that we're going to talk about. This is basically like your offshore stuff, right? You got a lot of it down here that we're going to talk about. We've got some underwater road beds that are out here too, so we'll talk about those. Those are the red lines. And then I don't know why, but I have rocks here again, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we don't need multiple rocks. We only need one. So all right, let's go ahead and select all of this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to view, and I'm going to take this sidebar off so we can see the whole screen here. And I've already gone up to the history bar and I've turned it on, so that way we can move it back and forth. And you'll see here, this is the current image they have out there. The last one they had, it looks like it was August of 2023. And there's some pretty good imaging here. You know, if we scroll in, you can kind of see a couple different rocky spots and stuff like that. But let me show you the juice. So we're going to come back here and we're going to roll this back to 2019. And when I do that, that whole area, remember this area? It actually had water in it. It was a lake. Yeah, it's not a lake anymore. It's clearly a river channel. So let's start at the dam like we always do. We'll work our way up and then we'll work our way back down. So let's just go over here to the dam. Obviously the dam is going to be a good place to fish, especially on a lake like this. It's clearly going to be the deepest area of the entire lake to fish. It's got some riprap down here. It's just going to be a good place. It always is a good place to find fish anytime you're fishing down by the dam. So let's start right here around the edge. You actually have this little point that comes out. I guess we'll call it a point. I don't know. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call it a point, but it comes out. It's underwater, but as you get over here and you come off to the side, you can see there's a little bit of rock right in here, right off this little ledge, and there's a nice little underwater point that's here too. Now again, move that up to 2023, you're going to have no idea that that stuff's there. So that's where this is going to be a huge advantage for you guys to have this on your graphs and know exactly where that stuff is. Then we're going to move on up. We're going to look out here. We've got some additional rocks and some humps out here. You can see here, we've got a hump that's right here. Looks like we saw some rock here. I might be able to bring this back even further because at some point in time, I was able to see that rock out there. Let's see if I can get it down far enough. Here we go. We're going all the way back to 2014. Now it's going to get real interesting. And here now you can see a lot of the other stuff. You even got a couple more spots that are over here too that we could have marked. They don't really look like hard spots, more just like high humps. But this area right in here should be really good. This hump could be good. You've got a little hard spot right here where you got some rock that's right here. Looks like some possible like old road beds maybe going on right through here. It's kind of hard to tell if that's what that is or not. If there's really anything left of them. It kind of looks just muddy. It's hard to tell in this image. But over here, look at this juice. Zooming in here, you got a really good hump with nice, good hard stuff on it. You got an old house foundation that's out here. Another big hard spot. There's a little group of rocks right there. There's all kinds of good stuff coming out here. And again, you know, moving that up to now, you'd have no idea that stuff was there. I mean, that is clearly a money spot from an offshore spot. You're going to find some fish there. There's no doubt. Let's go back to 2014. I want to keep making you guys dizzy on this video as we go through this. But we're going to move on up here. Now, obviously, this little channel here too, right, that you see here, this is creating some ledges in here too, so you might want to check those out. But definitely these spots that I'm pointing out to you, these rocky spots all through here, you know, you got some really good stuff going on here. I don't know how close you can get to this, but you got some really good stuff going on through here. You got a really good hard spot that's over in here as well. So just some really good looking juicy stuff. Now let's go on. Let's move on up here. As we get up here, of course, you know, water's up. It's way up here, I believe. Yeah, the water's way up here. So this is what it looks like when the water's up. And this is what we're going to draw that water down. And we're going to see what's underneath there. So it's kind of, this lake's kind of hard to tell where the bank line actually is. The bank line's right there. So this is pretty far off the bank line, but you get out here, you got a nice little point that comes out here. Actually, the image that I had, I probably need to change that. That looked like two different points. There's a low spot right between those two point spots. If I move it up to 2019, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can tell that this looks like an old pond. So when you put the water in there, you're like, oh, okay, so this is a pond and this is the little points on the pond. When you move back to 2014, you can't tell that. When you go to 14, you can kind of tell, but it's harder to tell. But now you can tell exactly what those points are. All right, now going back in here, right? We got a nice little channel that comes through here. Kind of swings around. Not a lot going on, not much of a channel, but then you get down here and it makes a big swing. You got a really nice little point that comes out here, and you got some really good rock right here on this ledge, basically creating a ledge from that swing coming over here. And then it swings down here, kind of stops down there. I don't know what the heck's going on down here, but all kinds of good stuff here. Got a nice little point, got a nice hump, got another point over here, a couple points over here. You got some really good rock going on through here. And again, all this stuff is like offshore city. Out here you can see another good hard spot right there. There's another really good hard spot right there and some really good rock. Now I'll pull that back to we just looked at that. And I'm gonna draw this up to 2023, back to where we were. And you can see all that stuff we just looked at, you don't even know it's under there, but there is significant amount of juicy stuff in this lake. It's too bad that the fishing doesn't show that it's excellent, because it would just be fun to fish offshore. All right, let's keep moving down here. See what else we find. This is a giant like hump that's out in the middle of the lake, but I put this on there because if you look in the middle of this, it's kind of like the hard spot on top of the hump. You can see there's a little bit of brush and stuff. So just wanted you to check that out. If you're out there, you can scan around it and stuff like that. You've got additional rock right here on this little ledge that comes out. You can check that out. More humps, another ledge down there. Another point that comes out here. This is interesting again because you can't tell here. But if we move it up to 2019, now you can really tell you got a nice little point. So there's a low spot right there that you could definitely take advantage of. Got another point that comes out here. You got a nice little ridge that's out here as well. And then as we move over here, we're going to go up in that arm. So we come up here. Here's those creek channels. You can see where we've got them all marked. And then on some of these bends, they get juicy. Like right here, it's a juicy little bend. Right here, another juicy little bend. Look at that nice little hard spot right there, right on the turn. And then as you move up, here's that road bed that we marked, that red thing. You got a fence line that comes through here. Bass like that kind of stuff too. You got a nice little creek or a little ditch that comes into the main creek channel here. Some more rock that's up in there. And then if we get up in here, I mean, we're talking shallow up in here. Shallow probably. But just some rock on all those different turns. So lots of good stuff going on this lake for sure. Let's go on and down. We talked about all that stuff. We're going to swing around and we're going to talk about now we're coming out of that creek channel. See what else we found. A couple lay down, some hard spots there. Here's a point here. There's some really good rock and stuff that's out here as well. So let's point out some of this that's real obvious here. Real good brush here. Another really good brushy spot right there. I'm going to pull this back now to 2014 so we can see that offshore stuff. All right, so that brush is kind of a little bit darker in this picture, but here's that ridge. And that's that channel coming through here, and that hump's right on the end of that channel. The hump's got to be good out there for sure. You got a really good hard spot here. Look how white that is on top. You can definitely tell that that's rocky. That's going to be a good hump to fish as well. And again, it's fairly close to where that channel's coming through, somewhere in here. It looks like that channel may have came right through here and went right down through this way in the past, possibly. Just kind of looks like it from the image. So again, lots of good points here, humps, hard spots, more points and humps and pond dams and ridges and all kinds of good stuff. Even wanted you to check this too, because it looks like something's going on right in there. Got some really good points coming in here. Got some more rock that's out there. You can see here just that little rocky spot. You come over here, you got this little point that's out here too, and it's coming off the edge of this creek channel. You come down here to this creek channel. When it makes this turn here, it's got a really nice hard spot. All kinds of rock in here. All kinds of good looking stuff. We follow that back. It's just got some rock on the turns, a little bit of brush. That's about it. And then we come up here we've got these rocky spots that are out here too, right? You got a nice little rocky spot right in here. You got a real nice little rocky like type ledge going on right in there as well. And then you come down here, you got that roadbed that comes through there. It doesn't look that good though. And then you've got a little channel that comes through here. And this thing actually goes pretty far back here. It goes way back here, actually, all the way back here to this ramp. Not sure if it's a good channel or not, but I definitely marked it for you guys so you could take a look at it. So that is everything for Twin Buttes Reservoir. It's not reservoir. It's not a huge reservoir by any means. Obviously, with this water fluctuation, it really let us see every opportunity that we have in that lake to be able to go out and find some fish. So hopefully you guys will take advantage of this thing. You can go out and find the card. We got everything loaded up on an SD card for you. All you got to do is put it in your graph, do the import. We can also send you the digital file like what we're looking at today. We'll send you that when you buy the SD card too. But you could also just get the digital files. But go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. Not only do we have this lake, but we have hundreds of lakes throughout Texas. In fact, I think we've got them all done. If there are any out there, they're private or I've missed them. But I'm telling you, I think I've got almost every one of them out there. So go definitely check it out, simplisticfishing.com. It'll change the way you fish. It'll allow you to pattern fish a lot easier. And if you're going to a new lake, you can't beat it. So go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB.